Welcome to the Real Estate Espresso Podcast, your morning shot of what's new in the world of real estate investing. I'm your host, Victor Menashe. Today's another AMA episode, that is, Ask Me Anything. I'd love to answer your questions, and if you have a question you think is going to be of broad interest, send it in. I'll answer it live on the air. Send your questions to victor@victorjm.com. That's victor@victorjm.com. Today's question comes from Tomas. He says, I'm a huge fan of your podcast and I've been listening for years. You've delivered so much value, and for that I'm immensely grateful. I have a quick question for you. I believe on a previous episode, you mentioned that there's an expanding opportunity in the market for short stay accommodations. There are folks that are looking for 1 to 3 month stays in the local markets to fill the gap between moving from one property to another. Do you think it's possible to have a small boutique hotel with regular guests and a floor of longer-term guests all under one roof? Or are there simply too many negative issues? If so, would such an arrangement even be desirable from an asset management perspective? I'd love to get your perspective on this. Well, Thomas, thank you for the kind words, and this is a great question. I love the way you're thinking. What you're describing is following one of the basic rules of business. That is, you're solving a business problem. The question is whether the hotel product in question is a suitable solution to the problem you're outlining. The problem exists in a number of specific areas. In business, the more precisely you can speak to your target customer, the better the connection. And you have a few distinct problems that could be solved here. Number one, a seller who might be reluctant to sell because they know it's going to take a while for them to find a replacement property. What if the realtor could present a solution to the problem of the seller having no place to go? So instead, they don't put their property on the market. Number two, maybe the replacement property is a new construction home and it's going to take months for the new house to be built. They don't want to carry 2 loans. It would be better to rent during the period of construction so the capital from the sale could be used to build the new house. Carrying double the debt might feel high risk for some homeowners. Lenders may also find that carrying 2 loans is too high risk. A tailor-made rental for the temporarily displaced homeowner could be perfect. Number 3, maybe the seller has a new house already under construction and the builder's delayed. This happens with alarming regularity. I know so many people who have experienced this situation. They've already sold their home and they have to move out, and the builder has delayed delivery of the new home by 3 months or maybe even 6 months. Now the homeowner needs to move out, put all their belongings in storage, find a place for 4 to 6 months. There's very few landlords that want to rent an unfurnished property for 4 months. A furniture move is hard on a property. Short-term rentals are a possibility, and some of the people I've spoken with at Airbnb tell me that a medium-term rental like this makes up a reasonable percentage of their rental business. Some estimates are in the range of 20%. So there's clearly a market demand for solving this problem of delayed new home closings. So the question is, what's the right product to meet the needs of that target client? Now, when you say hotel, I would assert that this would need to be a suite hotel with a full kitchen, a large enough workspace, and enough elbow room to be a viable location for a few months. There are very few hotels that meet that description. If it's an extended stay hotel with high-quality beds and high-quality amenities, it could work. If the hotel guests and the medium-term residents are separated on separate floors, that might be enough to entice the medium-term guests. I think the first reaction from a potential guest at the thought of staying in a hotel for 6 months would probably be negative, so the product needs to be properly positioned. If you can market it as an extended stay residence that happens to be co-located on the same property as a hotel, it could work. This is increasingly the trend in hotels to double brand a single hotel property with 2 different brands within the same hotel family. For example, you might see a Residence Inn co-located with a Marriott Courtyard on the same property. Okay, so now you have an idea of what might be a viable product. The competition consists of short-term rentals in the market. A hotel floor dedicated to residential could be convincing, but distinct branding is the key. Another key to marketing this to clients would be word-of-mouth recommendation from the real estate agent who's brokering the deal, or perhaps the builder who's responsible for the delay. If the broker says, we've got a special deal with the extended stay residence, it's perfect for those who need temporary accommodation between homes, we have other clients who have enjoyed the experience. You might have a viable product in that case. But frankly, that's what I think it's going to take. A client would not naturally think of that solution first, and for that reason, you're going to be overcoming more objections than you might think at first. One of the objections is the perception that a hotel room is priced on a nightly basis, and it's too expensive compared with a monthly rental. Again, I said the word perception. While the hotel might be willing to discount the nightly rate when renting by the month, the perception is still that the nightly rate's going to be too high. So in order to satisfy the client that you've got the right product, I believe the product needs to be branded and positioned as a monthly, all-inclusive, medium-term executive rental. Again, Thomas, I love the way you're thinking. It's a great question. But don't just take my word for it. Test market your idea with some of the major brokers in town and get their opinion. Thank you for a great question. And for the listeners at home, have an awesome rest of your day. Go make some great things happen. We'll talk to you again tomorrow.